Welcome back to my channel. So in this lecture we will be discussing on the lambda function. Lambda function is a very small function, but it works wonder. So what is lambda function? Lambda function is also known as anonymous function. Anonymous function. If you go with the normal English meaning for anonymous, it means no name. Okay, no name, or that doesn't have any particular name, but it does a particular task. Okay, so what is lambda function? Lambda is the keyword that is being used by Python for calling any anonymous function. Okay, that means we don't have any particular name to the function, but that will do a particular task. Okay, so what is the syntax? Let's discuss the syntax for lambda function. Syntax is the keyword lambda. Okay, we can have arguments and then an expression. Okay, so what is lambda function? Lambda function is a special function in Python which is also known as anonymous function. Why it is known as anonymous function? Because we don't have a particular name for what function we want to use, but it will do a particular task. Okay, so the syntax for lambda function is lambda, argument, expression. Arguments are the variables we can say. We can have n number of arguments, but for expression we'll have only one expression or single expression. Okay, so always remember we can have n number of arguments but only one expression. That is all about lambda. Now let's take an example so that it becomes easy for us to understand lambda, and in the continuing part of this video we'll be showing a program, the same example in Google Colab, and how the output looks like. Okay, or what are the ways we can use lambda function. So let's take an example. So obviously we'll be using the keyword lambda or anonymous function lambda. Any argument we can take, argument or arguments we can take. So let's take a and an expression. Suppose the expression I will take is a into 10. Okay, so this function, what it will do? It will do a particular task, that is multiplying the value of a with 10. Okay, now this function will do the job, but obviously it won't give the output because we are not printing it. So let's call it to be x. Okay, what we need to do? Print x. Now we can print x, but x is also a function because this is a lambda function. So we have seen the previous videos, we need this, and we have to define the value for a. Suppose a is 5. So it will give me the output as, what will be the output for this? It will give me the output as 50. Okay, this is the second expression, this is the argument. Now, as I said, we can have n number of arguments, so we can take a, b, c, but only one expression. So same function can be used as x is equal to lambda a comma b comma c, but obviously if we are using 3 arguments we have to use the expression which is using all the 3. So let's take the expression as a b c into 10. So similarly if we print it, suppose print x 5, so what will be the output for this? 5, and we have 3 arguments, so this 5 won't work this time, we'll have to give 3 values, so 5, 2, 1. Okay, so 3 values are given, so it will be what? 5 plus 2, 7, 7 plus 1, 8, 8 into 10, 80. So this will be the output. Okay, this is all about lambda. Thank you so much for patiently watching the video. Thank you so much.
Good morning, students. So today we'll be discussing about the lambda functions. In the definition part, we have already seen what do you understand by lambda and what are the syntaxes for lambda. So now we'll see an example of lambda directly in the Google Colab. So this is the screen for Google Colab. All of us know how to get Google Colab in our Google Drive. So now we'll discuss about the lambda function. So let's just rename it to be lambda. And in the syntax, we have already seen what do we understand by a lambda function and what is the syntax of a lambda function. So lambda function are basically the anonymous functions that is being used for any single expressions. So it is being defined by the word or the keyword lambda. So Python use this for any sort of anonymous functions. Okay, and then according to the syntax, it's lambda and then we have an arguments, any argument you can give or arguments you can give. Then we have a colon and the expression will write. So sorry, and the expression will have. So argument basically is the variable that you want to name it. It can be n number, we can have n number of variables. So initially let's start with a single variable a, and this is the expression, that is the code we want to write or the code we want to execute. So let's call it to be suppose a into 10. Okay, so this is my expression suppose. Now we want to check whether this gives proper output or not. Since we are not printing any output, so obviously it's just saying that we are taking a lambda function. So let us just print it correctly. So let's define it with x, and then let's print this x. Okay, so now we are printing the x, but still this won't give output because we have one defined any value for a. It's basically x is what? A into 10, right? So we have to define a value for a. So let's call a to be 5. Now let's check the values now. So now it is giving the correct answer. So this is my lambda function. So we can have any expression, but remember we can have n number of arguments. Let's say take few more arguments, suppose a, b, comma, c, and we can have n number of only one expression. So sorry, only one expression. We cannot have 2, 3 or n number of expressions. We can have only one expression, but we can have n number of arguments. So let's take this example. Let's see whether it works properly or not. Okay, for calling, obviously we have used A, B, C, so we have to give some other values. Suppose let's take 1, 2, 3. Let's take a small value. The verification will be easier. So let's see, it's 1 plus 2 plus 3, it's 6. 6 into 10 is 60. So bingo, we have got the output. So that is my lambda function. It's an anonymous function. You can call it to be a user-defined function also. Okay, so lambdas can call to be a user-defined function also, but with a single expression. So it can have n number of arguments and only one expression. So that is our lambda function.